Hello everyone, the sixth round of the World Chess Championship has ended. This time it was Ding's turn to emerge victorious as he essayed a surprise London defense, London system and took advantage of his opponent's series of positional inaccuracies to gain the right winning position, culminating in a mating net that forced Nepomniachtchi to resign. So let's move toward the board and let's see how did the sixth round of the World Chess Championship went. So the Ding Liren started with the e4 pawn playing as white, d4 pawn, and the opponent responded with f6. Then the white played with knight f3 trying to protect his piece, while black responded with d5. And now moving toward the London system, white the Ding Liren played bishop to f4. So the long-awaited moment has arrived when the London system finally makes its first appearance in a World Chess Championship match. If I have criticized London players, here I demonstrate my complete regret for doing so. This is not a very common weapon in Ding's game, but he has used it before, and Nepomniachtchi said he expected it at some point. So the third move was played as c5 was played by the black, trying to exchange the pieces and to deflect and moving the game toward the queen gambit, but white played e3 and covering up and building upon structure. Black responded with knight to c6 and knight to d2 played by the white. So here at this stage the c takes d4 pawn. Now the black has one pawn in the center, and now this pawn is protected by the knight and it's already attacked by at the same time, but this won't do much harm to the white or anyone's position. So the next move was played, pawn takes d4 and bishop to f5. So in the sixth move, bishop to f5 was played. So what if the bishop to g4 could have been played? But if the g4 was played by Nepomniachtchi in 2022 here, so then seventh move would have been c3. He would have played c3 and the black would have responded with e6 and queen to b3 and the game would have continued. But here Nepomniachtchi played bishop to f5 and c3. The black responded with e6 and trying to move his pieces toward the center. At this stage both the players are in the same position and no one is in better situation than other. So now Ding played bishop to b5, not the most popular choice here. He is just opening his position so he can castle on the king side. So this move is not really much appreciated. So the black plays bishop to d3. So if knight to here Ding sacrifices moved his here Ding just took the knight at d6 and trying to exchange the pieces, which he did, and now queen to d6, queen takes the bishop and now Ding goes for the castle at the king side and black plays rook to e1 with the castle. Okay, so rook to e1 trying to open the center and locking this file by the black. There are not many moves in this position. As you can see, e1 was the good move. After this e black, white could have just go for the exchange pieces, and this was in London. The game become defensive and it's not much of an attacking game. So most of them are by GM play this game, and most experts in the position looks calm and even more defensive. It is difficult to predict the firework that we will see actually later. White plan is try to expert some pressure, so white can just simply expert pressure. And now on the queen side, advancing the a pawn and trying to get the knight to c5. Black position is very solid, but there is no clear game plan. So the 11th move which was played by black Nepomniachtchi was to h6. The pawn to h6 a useful move, giving the bishop a square to take back and the king some air. However, due to white's next move, this move may not be the most accurate, because the next move is going to be the devastating move, and which was played knight to e5. Now black can just simply exchange the piece, and it's actually there is nothing wrong. It's actually a new move, and black can just simply exchange the piece and be in the same position. So the knight e7 was played. Instead of just exchanging the pieces, Nepomniachtchi just played knight to e7, necessary to avoid the exchange on c6. And okay, this game does not, I don't see anything wrong with this move, but this is like a 12 to 15. This game here is played like a 1200 to 1500 rated player. So the next move, a6, trying to protect and to open the more position at the a file, and a6 was played by the black, attacking the bishop, and the bishop has to move back. Now okay, here the only move I think is black should have next played was the knight to g4. This was, I think, move would have been a good move, but the black plays knight to d7. According to engine, it was an inaccuracy. So a5, what if the a5 could was played? So now the black can just simply in the 15th. What if to a5 was played? What if here just black would have moved the pawn to a5? So this move preventing white from fixing the structure on the queen side and its value. So the next move could have been here, knight takes d7, the pieces were exchanged, queen to d7, took the knight, and 16th move was played e6. Now with the structure on the queen side fixed and black with weakness on the dark square, white has a small advantage. So white delayed this move, Ding Liren, but actually this was a good move which he played later. So next move, queen to c7, queen to f3. The game is in the same position, and here white could have just simply moved h3, pawn to h3, rook to fc8, trying, actually these are just random moves and trying to bring aligning the pieces. So rook to c8, rook to a3 are sophisticated moves. The rook will come in handy on the third rank later in the game, but more conventional moves are available. So black could have just, I think here white could have just moved this pawn to h3, or just knight to b3 could have been a better move. So the next move which was played to rook to bishop to g6. Black's problem is that there are no active moves available, as I predicted. So the next move, actually white is quite delaying a move by one pieces. So but I think white is in a good position. Black is just stuck. Knight to c6, and now knight to c6 wasn't a good move here. I don't see any good moves for black, but black could have just opened the pawn, open this b6 b7 pawn, and move to h6, move to b6. This could be a good move for the black. So here the next move was played, queen to g3, now trying to exchange the pieces, and queen to e7, trying to protect, and no one forcing you to exchange. And I think before exchange you should always make a plan. So the next move, queen takes. Now the next move was h4. This was it's a great move, gaining space on the king side and showing the opponent, and he is not in a hurry. Interestingly, in the previous game it was Nepomniachtchi who expected an excellent pawn advancement to h4. Rook to e8. Nepomniachtchi decided to prepare a plan with e6 and e5 to e5. The computer shows that he makes things worse, but it's hard to play without an active plan. So the next move which white played, and this was a good move, c5. Knight to c5, pawn to e5 by black, but you don't have to just simply take the e5 pawn, you can just advance it and take later. So rook to b3. So the next move was the knight takes the pawn at a5. So the next move, now this is a good move where black just simply takes the pawn and attacks the queen and the rook at the same time, and the pawn at d5. So black plays the rook, queen to black tries saves the queen. Rook to a3 attacks the knight. Here knight can just for few moves knight can be saved, but if black plays knight to c4, then it can just simply force the two rooks. Let's see what the Nepomniachtchi played. He forced the two knights. So this was a good move, and here comes the final piece where the black formed, but the bishop was already there, so the bishop took the knight and saved the rooks, and now exchange the pieces. So this is a critical move in the game. What if the h5 was played? So queen to h5, or just simply h5 would have been played. So this is a clear resource. So the h5, the game was made. So this is a mistake due to a clever tactical reasons. Bishop to c2, this was also a mistake. Knight takes the pawn. Queen to b6, trying to attack the pawn and attack this pawn, the weak pawn, and breaking the pawn chain and attacking the knight at the same time. Now black has made some good moves here, and now this is the good move, and I think this is the best move where black cannot just capture the knight. If the black captures the knight, then in the next move black captures the knight with the queen, then the white in the next move give a check and later win the queen. So rook takes e5, rooks for the rook. White can just simply take the rook, and which he did. So this move clearly better than the taking with the pawn. So black takes the weak pawn and try to break the pawn structure. Rook to a5. Now this is Ding rapidly praised this game at the press conference, and he actually this is a good move. And now for the king to h7 was played. The next move, rook to c5. This is a mistake by the Indian. So queen to c1. This is a mistake because this gives black good saving chance if he manages to find some fantastic ideas on the way. So you have to take your king back. Pawn to f6, attacking the queen. Queen to g3. From now on, there is no possible salvation for Nepomniachtchi. a4. Okay, keep advancing. Knight takes c4. a4. Now black is just Nepomniachtchi is just trying to bring his pawn and to develop its pawn. Knight to e3. Now attacking the pawn, attacking the bishop, and again just simply blocking the queen. The most accurate Ding plays for mate. Next move was bishop to b1. Rook to. Now this is the move where the black is completely stuck because these. Now black can just simply move, white can just simply attack with the, and the black and white cannot just simply give a check. So knight to d5, king goes back, and this is one random move trying to grab the pawn, but black saves it. Knight to e7, f8, and the d5 was played. So Ding finds a wonderful mating pattern and finishes the game in style. Rook to b7. Now moves further. Queen to c7. Now we are one move or two moves away from checkmate. King to h7. Knight to g6. Attacking the rook at the end. Just if black takes with the bishop, you can just take back with the pawn. Rook to g8, and the 44th move, queen to f7. Now it's a clear why the pawn is needed on d5. It takes the e6 square from the king. Such a pretty finish for another great move in the match. I'm already out of the words to praise this duel. I studied following world championship matches in the early 90s, and now I think these are some good moves. So the next move would have been a queen to g5, and the queen takes the rook, king takes the rook, and now it would have been a good checkmate. King to f7, rook to f8, and this was the game. This was the London system played by the Ding Liren, and I appreciate this move. So this was all for the sixth game of the World Chess Championship. So thank you for watching, and leave the impression for the channel.